Greetings, Legionnaires. We are here for our wrestling predictions. My name is Sai, and I'm joined today, as always, by my esteemed colleague, one of the best brains in the wrestling business, Wrestling with Your Thoughts, Nick. How's it going, mate?
I'm good, mate. Good day. Got another couple of days of peace before my brother comes home. So, and so excited for this weekend. It's like WrestleMania all over again. 3 shows in 2 days. It's going to be
There's
something.
so much wrestling. Why do they have to do it when the kids are off for a week's holiday? Like, how am I going to watch all of this wrestling? Hopefully we'll get there. So today we're here to give our predictions for not just one pay-per-view or PLE, not just 2 pay-per-views or PLEs, but 3. Yeah, so the only question really is, where would you like to start? Pick me a number. I'm going to give you a choice. You can have 6, 7, or 9.
We'll go with 6.
6. 6 is a fantastic choice. You've picked Battleground.
I figured. As I shall safely say, I think I figured out your system, sir. 6 matches, 7 matches, 9 matches.
Oiled again. I thought that'd be fun. Anyway, we're starting with Battleground, which has, funnily enough, 6 matches. Can you figure out which is 7 and which is 9 before we get there?
Yes, Clash of Champions is 7, Double or Nothing is 9.
I'm going to have to mix it up a little bit after this card then.
And I can safely say that Double or Nothing will probably be 12 matches before the week is out.
Yeah. I mean, that pre-show or 0 hour, I'm sure that's going to be stacked as well.
Plus Tony's got his big announcement tonight.
Yeah, his big announcement is going to be that he's making an announcement next week that he's going to make an announcement the week after.
Well, AW stands for announcements every week.
Hey, I like it. So, we're going to start with the NXT Battleground show, which is going head-to-head with Double or Nothing. It's been quite a nice few weeks, I think, for NXT, mainly because they've been using a lot of the... hey, Courtney. Maybe because they've been using a lot of the NXT UK guys. I think some of the storylines have picked up, and I think we could be in for...
Courtney's a lucky girl.
Courtney's going to Battleground in person. That's amazing.
That's brilliant.
This is my jealous face.
Congratulations, Court. It's going to be a good show.
Oh, that's great. Hope you enjoy it. But yeah, I think it could be NXT's best super show for a year to 18 months, because there's some pretty good in-ring talent listed on the card.
Yes.
Let's start with the tag team titles. So Gallus defending against the Creed brothers. What do you think about this one?
It's got to be the Creeds. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Creed brothers. As you know, I don't watch as much NXT as I used to during the Black and Gold days. But I have kept an eye on the Creed brothers for the better part of 2 years. They are like Kurt Angle has been split in half via genetics and turned into 2 wrestlers. Those boys, especially the older brother, are exceptionally good. Like, they really know how to tell a story in the ring. And at their age, that's remarkable, because they're both in their 20s, I believe, which is just, I mean,
super
absolutely
young.
Absurd.
Super young. I mean, it's kind of like we've got 2 similar teams. We've got the, what's the analogy that's often used? The tank and the Ferrari.
Portion of the tank.
The Porsche of the tank. That's the one. I was nearly there. I mean, you've got Joe Coffey, obviously, and you have the big Creed brother. I'm not sure which is which.
I know. I still get the Creeds confused.
Big beefy man slapping beef. It's going to be great. And then obviously you've got the other 2 guys who are the more technical wrestlers. So who you picking for the first one?
It's got to be the Creed brothers. Like,
Creed brothers taking the belts.
I'm a big fan of Gallus, but I never understood why they put the belts on them in the first place, unless they were just using them as transitional heels to get a babyface team over. And I think they're finally at that point now. So I'm going with the Creed brothers. They worked their tails off in that company and have earned those belts.
I'm with you. Weirdly, Gallus have been used mainly as faces. I don't know if it's because there's such a big following for BT Sport in Scotland. It's possible. But yeah, I mean, I would have been like you. I would have booked them as heels. I mean, we saw Gallus, Joe Coffey way back in Progress, didn't we?
Yeah.
And they were great heels.
Yeah, unbelievable heels. Joe Coffey as part of the Prestige was absolutely absurd. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, that theme tune still gets stuck in my head. I'm going with you on this one. I think this is going to be one of maybe only 1 or 2 title changes all weekend. We're kind of in that rematch season after Mania.
We are.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of title changes, but I think this is one of them. I'm with you. Next on the card is something that I'm really looking forward to. We have Ilya Dragunov against Dijakovic.
and they signed hold harmless agreements.
Have you seen the build up to this?
Yes. Last week, when he was torturing Dragunov to see how much damage he could take, and Dragunov just kept taking it, was superb. The build up this week, where Dragunov just annihilated him backstage, was fantastic. Then Dijak in the locker room and having the pull apart brawl, which I really enjoyed. They don't do enough. If minor sidebar, if you go back to when we were kids, a lot of the locker room interviews would have the other wrestlers in the background.
Yeah.
And over the years, that's disappeared, and it's become more focused on the singular talent with an interviewer. I like the fact that Sean of NXT has started doing these interviews with the other wrestlers in the background.
Yeah.
Like in the locker room, shows that there is a company there with other people, and it's not just a single star they're focusing on. I really enjoy that.
I'm with you. I mean, it adds realism, but it also gives those that are in the background that are like developmental talent, it gets them used to being on camera and having the confidence when they finally do get called up and given an opportunity.
Exactly.
Who are you picking?
It's got to be Ilya. Like, he's my boy. You know he's my boy. He's part of my favorite live match that I've ever seen in my life versus Gunther at Progress Chapter 186, if nobody else knows.
We were lucky enough to be ringside for that. It was an amazing match.
It was amazing. I think Dijak and Ilya have unbelievable chemistry.
Yes.
Like, they work so... I mean, Dijak has great chemistry with most people. I think he's very underrated. But his chemistry with Ilya is second only to his chemistry with Keith Lee. So I cannot wait for this. Unba Zigba is going to take the win. He has to take the win, especially with the rumor that he's going to be Imperium's new member. And I don't see them having... he is he's Russian, but it's kind of European.
I just always see Dragunov as the guy that could beat Walter. I mean, he's done it before. Did it in NXT UK.
Who's to say they don't do that? They have him join Imperium. He's on Gunther's side for a certain amount of time. And then as time progresses, Ilya starts to make more traction and Gunther starts to notice you're getting a bit close. And then bang, chops him down and we have a feud.
Makes a lot of sense. You know, I'd pay to see that.
I would.
I don't want to draw comparisons with the Double or Nothing show and start any tribalism. So instead, I'm going to compare this one to, I think, Cody and Brock. And I think this has actually had a better build, more physicality.
Oh, yeah.
As good as Cody and Brock has been, this was better, my opinion.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm with you on Dragunov. We're agreeing on everything so far, mate. This isn't right.
No, it's not normal.
Next up, we have the triple threat match for the North American Championship. Wes Lee continues to break records. One of the longest defending NXT North American champions ever. Yeah. And he's defending in a triple threat against Joe Gacy and your boy, Tyler Bate.
Yeah, he is.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, it is. It's the big, strong boys' time, Simon. It is the big, strong boys' time. Tyler's promos have always been his weakness. Like, you can see when he was nervous on screen. Like we've said for ages, if you watched him in the smaller companies like Progress, WCPW, the earlier stuff, his confidence was so high. Like when he came out to the ring, everything was so high. When he got to the big stage, he seemed to have shied away a little bit.
Yeah.
But the last few weeks, I mean, the meditating in the smoky room with Wes Lee was hilarious. Just because he looked so confused and didn't know why he was there. But the promo he cut on NXT this week with Wes Lee backstage was really, really good. I thought it showed Tyler for who Tyler should be. And he's been there long enough. Wes Lee should go up to the main roster. That's just my opinion. I don't understand why they're keeping him on NXT. He'd be a phenomenal mid-carder to run with the likes of Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, the real workhorses of the mid-card. But I don't think Tyler's going to win.
Ooh.
That's
a curveball. Okay.
Yeah, I think Wes is keeping that belt. He is, as you said, he is probably going in as the longest reigning North American champion they've had. His defenses have been exceptional. He's been a fighting champion. That ladder match the other month where he picked all of the opponents was just superb, and he still won. If anybody beats him, I'd love it to be Tyler Bate. I really would, because I think Tyler deserves the belt. He's been there. He's put the work in. He's put the time in. The big, strong boy has earned it. But I've just got a feeling they're going to keep that belt on Wes Lee.
Do you know what? Just to save time, there's not a lot there I'm going to disagree with. And I think Wes Lee's retaining as well. But I think it should potentially steal the show. I mean, we've got some great matches on the show, but there's another banger.
It's going to be an absolute banger. I love a good triple threat.
Yes, and there's a couple this weekend. Moving on to, let's see, the Heritage Cup. Okay, so I don't know if you followed it in NXT UK, but the Heritage Cup it's under different rules. You basically get rounds. Each round goes on for several minutes, then you get a 30-second break, and it's the first to score 3 pinfalls over the other one.
So it's the same as Impact's championship from a few years back, where they had rounds.
Kinda. And it's essentially it's based on what World of Sport used to do.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a cross between wrestling with like boxing rules, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's more technical. You can spread a match over 25 minutes and really tell a story if the two guys get it down right. We've got Noam Dar, who's had the belt for over 170 days, mainly because he's not been used on television. Defending, in fact, entirely because he's not been used on television.
Yeah.
Defending against Dragon Lee, which, it's mouthwatering. But I tend to think we could have a new champion here. How about you?
They don't hire Dragon Lee to do nothing with him.
No.
The fact that they hired the guy, he then beat FTR for the AAA Tag Team Championships. 10 seconds later, threw away the championships and said, I'm going to WWE. If I was Dragon Lee, I wouldn't have done any of that unless I'd been made some promises.
Yeah.
And I think he's been made some promises. The guy is an unbelievable talent. Noam Dar is great. No knocking Noam Dar. He'll have a fantastic match with Dragon Lee. But Dragon Lee is special. In ring, he is special. You know me. Timing is everything in professional wrestling to me. And Dragon Lee has had timing since he was 19 years old. He was born with it. You cannot teach timing. And Dragon Lee has timing. This match should be I think this is probably going to be the best singles match on the card as far as wrestling goes. I really do, because Noam is very underrated and he's fantastic at getting somebody else over.
Yes.
No.
I thoroughly enjoyed his matches on NXT UK. He's always good. He brings good heat. But ultimately, I think that's what he's doing. Maybe is getting Dragon Lee over. Maybe they wanted to give Dragon Lee some kind of belt, some kind of trophy. And with Wesley having quite a long reign, and with there being a queue at the top, maybe that's why they brought back in the Heritage Cup. But whatever the reason, that's going to be another good match. The tournament now for the final for the vacant Women's Championship. So this has been a decent tournament. We had a couple of good matches this week.
It has.
Lots of stories told on the way with the fallout between Gigi and JC. And then somebody else took out Roxanne this week. I think it's Blair Davenport, but we don't know. The final is Lyra Valkyria. I can't even say that. And Tiffany Stratton, who is pretty much being skyrocketed by the following of fanboys that she's got.
Anybody thinks Tiffany Stratton is losing this match is a bloody idiot. Right? You're a moron. Right? They are introducing a new level of stratisfaction to wrestling. Yes. Except now it's Tiffany Stratton. The girl is drop dead gorgeous. She knows she's drop dead gorgeous. 90% of her fans are young teenage boys who think she's drop dead gorgeous. She can go in the ring, which is very surprising for somebody who's been around as long as she's not been around very long. She's got great on the microphone. She's very, very solid in knowing who her character is, which is very rare for a young wrestler. She knows her identity and she knows who she wants to be. Anybody that thinks Lyra Valkyria is beating Tiffany Stratton in this match, you're an idiot. You need to have your head checked.
That's not taking anything away from Lyra, Iofi, whatever you want to call her, because
she's amazing.
She's a good hand, but she's not ready yet, I don't think. We've agreed on 5 out of 5.
I know. It's getting weird.
All right. Main event time. Carmelo Hayes defending against a newly healed Bron Breakker. Which way do you think this is going to go?
Mello. Right. I love Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I do. That's why I drafted them third in our draft the other week. I think they're a fantastic act. I really do. Bron has the timing of a wet fish. He's basically just spent the last 6 months doing an impression of his Uncle Scott, but as a babyface, and not very well. He's got a good spear. There you go. Other than that, he's like a rip-off of Goldberg and his uncle.
Let's bookmark this at 15 minutes and 1 second. Nick said something positive about Bron Breakker.
Yeah, it's not very often I'll do that.
Well-
but he's just turned heel. I understand that a lot of the time, if you just turned heel, you need to win the match. But Carmelo's just won that belt. It's effectively his second defense.
Yeah, it's second big defense. It's kind of gone back to the guy he beat for it. They've allowed time for the heel turn.
Yeah, and I
I'm
will
with you.
make a caveat on Carmelo winning. Trick's winning the match for him.
Okay.
I think Trick Williams will cast distractions on the outside. Bron Breakker will get angry, and this will allow Carmelo to take advantage.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say a lot more on that one either because we're 15 minutes into the show and we still have about 16 or 17 more matches to call. But again, we agreed on every match on Battleground. So,
just got to ask, what do you think of the card? All in all,
I think it's a really good card. I think, if anything, the little weak link could be the tag title match. Not knocking any of those guys, but I think that's just a notch below the other five. It's the best card on paper I think NXT have had, like I say, 18 months.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Right,
next.
Yeah, so you need to pick a number. You can pick.
I'll go with 7, mate.
7. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You said 9, didn't you? So 7. Right. There are 7 matches on Night of Champions. Amazingly, 3 women's matches, which has to be applauded.
And even more amazingly, 3 main events on a 7-match card.
It's a triple main event.
So basically, over nearly half the matches on the card are being billed as the main event.
Yeah, so you don't have to watch the first half of the show. Just watch the second 2 hours and watch the main event.
You see, that's the thing, because Roman usually follows Brock's rule. If I'm not on last, I'm on first. And I think we all know AJ versus Seth is the main event. So I think we're going to get Roman and Solo versus the Sami and Kevin.
Roman's open?
I think they're opening. And
that makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going on the list that we've got on Wiki. I'm going to do it in that order. I don't know if this is the final order or not, but it's what I'm going on. Okay. Quite a strange match to call. It came out of nowhere. The build was took certain liberties. Yeah. But we've ended up with what a lot of people would see as a WrestleMania dream match. It's Becky Lynch against Trish Stratus. What do you think?
Trish is winning. Because this is going on to SummerSlam, mate.
Oh, we finally disagree on something.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Becky. I love Becky. I think Becky is the best they have in the women's division as an all-round character. She's not the best in the ring, Charlotte is. But as far as her character work, understanding who she is, presenting herself and everything, Becky's the best they've got. However, she's also fantastic in defeat. And I think Becky needs to lose a little bit. Because, did you watch... I'm assuming you watched Raw.
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't you think there was it was a good show. But there was a little bit of Conor McGregor left in Becky during that
I've
promo.
always seen Becky, she kind of walks and carries herself like Conor McGregor, and she talks like Roddy Piper. It's like the 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that to get rid of the McGregorness and go back to being the man, she needs to lose for the last vestiges of big-time Bex to take a walk. Trish,
I've got a theory about that.
Hang on. Trish has said she's here for a long time. I think that means SummerSlam.
Trish versus Lita at SummerSlam, maybe.
No, Trish versus Becky. Becky wins. Lita is the
it's carrying
referee.
on?
Lita is the referee.
Well, I've got a theory about what you said about now she's back to big time Bex. Is it a coincidence, or is it every time we read in the wrestling news that Vince McMahon has walked away from creative, there's a push for the man? Every time we read in the wrestling news that Vince McMahon is back in creative, there's a push for big time Bex. Now, this kind of inconsistency, she has become kind of like a lighthouse in showing what's going on behind the scenes. And at the minute, it's big time Bex, but hey.
Those sunglasses made of the hands were just...
Oh, yeah.
Fingers. They were just superb.
Yeah. Just kind of reminiscent of like a Cyndi Lauper-esque wrestler. It was it was a great little spot.
Which is ironic considering she played Cyndi Lauper in Young Rock.
Yes. And she was damn good at it as well.
Yes, she was.
Great little show that for anyone who's not checked it out. There's some great cameos through the seasons.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I'm going Becky, mate.
Okay. First disagreement.
I don't think this is going on and on. I don't think Trish should be winning matches at her age, coming in as a part-timer. And I hate that term, as you know.
I know you do.
But I'm going Becky. All right. Rhea Ripley defending against the lady that has more wins in WWE women's history than anybody.
Right, I'm gonna give you some deep analysis on this. Rhea Ripley is winning because her opponent is Natalya. There you go. Right, now I know our partner in crime who couldn't be with us today. Hi, Andy. All right, will agree with me in this. Natalya is a waste of space. I loved Nadie back in the day because when the divas were around, she was a wrestler in a land of divas. Now she's the last surviving diva in a land of wrestlers. She's terrible. She can't cut promos. She never has been able to cut promos. Her ring work has become subpar. She is the most unbelievable character on WWE TV because she has no character. It changes like the freaking wind. It's just, I don't understand why Rhea's wrestling her. Selena Vega made all the sense in the world. They were in Puerto Rico. You have a Puerto Rican opponent. Perfect. They're not in Canada. Why is Natty challenging? Doesn't make sense. There are plenty of other women on that SmackDown roster who are better suited to have a go at Rhea Ripley.
So what are your honest, no bullshit. What are your honest thoughts about Natalya? No, right, so I straight up agree. I'm not one that thinks you should reward effort, but maybe this is why Natalya's got the spot. I don't know. Rhea's winning. Let's just move on from that. I don't want to press any more of your buttons. Okay, over to the other brand now. So that's the Raw Championship, which is on SmackDown. So now we're moving to the SmackDown Championship, which is on
all
Raw.
the way around. That was the SmackDown Championship that was on Raw. Now we're on the Raw Championship that's on SmackDown.
Is that not what I said?
You said the other way around.
Well, it's just as crazy either way.
Realistically, it still makes no sense until they eventually do their belt swap, which will happen.
Which has to happen, yeah.
It has to happen.
Okay, so Bianca Belair, Super Bianca, is defending against a newly heel-turned Asuka. Thoughts on this one?
Oh, please, God, let Asuka win. I love Bianca. I will not hear anything said against the Super Cena of the female generation. She is amazing. Her in-ring work is phenomenal. She's got power. She's got speed. She's got such good timing, right? She knows who her character is. She presents herself really well, but she's got stale. It's the sad truth. I know the live crowds still go crazy for Bianca, and it's basically just the IWC naysaying all the time. But her character is becoming stale. They need to change things up. Asuka doesn't need to be a long-standing champion. They can literally have Asuka win the belt and then in a month have her drop it back to Bianca. Because Bianca gets a second reign. Look what they did with Cena. He'd drop a title to Edge. 2 weeks later, he'd win it back. But it broke up the monotonous.
I think this is why the comparison's been made so much, is that during the height of the Super Cena hate, John would defend the belt against the biggest heel after the biggest heel after the biggest heel in the hope that they would help him get a face pop. Never happened.
Nope.
And it's kind of like this is what they're trying to do now with Bianca. But taking all of the IWC side out of it, I think this could be the best women's match on the show in ring-wise. And I think Bianca's keeping it.
Well, I know she's heading into the longest reign in modern-day female history, which would make sense to keep it on her. But I'll quote our good friend Andy here. Asuka can't carry the title as a babyface. She can't cut promos. It's a sad truth, but if you can't cut a promo in Western wrestling, you can't carry a championship. Unless you're a bad guy. Because if you're a bad guy, you don't need to cut promos.
No, because you're just an evil foreigner by proxy.
Exactly. and you just need to cheat and smash people around. The only thing I will say about this is the build's been a bit Oscar sprays her with the mist, then Oscar misses her with the mist, but Bianca still acts like she got hit with the mist.
The best thing was literally 5 or 10 minutes after she got hit and blinded by that, terrible poisonous mist. She was out wrestling Io Sky in a dark match.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one I'm looking forward to. I think it might be quite a short match, though. We have soon to be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, the Ring General Gunther, defending against Ali.
I don't know if I'd use the word defending so much as destroying.
It's an exhibition match, isn't it?
It is. I love Mustafa Ali. And I thought the promo he cut on Raw was heartfelt, talking about the fact that nobody thinks he could win. I thought that was really good. He's played into it. He's got rid of the positive stuff. Because they basically gave him DDP's gimmick in 2003. With the motivational
Essentially,
speaker.
he was positive, Ali. I think after this match, he might be a little bit
hospitalized, Ali.
Yeah.
You and I, have been lucky enough to see Gunther wrestle Ricochet live.
We have.
And you will remember there was a spot in that match where Ricochet goes for a springboard and Gunther just chopped him out of the air.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to happen to Ali an awful lot. And I'm really looking forward to it. I am not a fan of seeing people get mugged, except in professional wrestling. Ali's going to put a hell of a performance in, and I hope it's a star-making one for him. But I agree with you. I think this is going to be the shortest match on the card. And I think Gunther is going to absolutely eat him alive. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
To quote one of my favorite 80s commentators, I think he's going to rearrange his nipples. It's not going to be pretty. And Gunther's reign goes on as it should.
He better beat Honky's record. That's all I'm saying. That finger's stood for
like 4 months, less than 4 months away.
It's September, isn't it? Yeah.
So bring Dragunov up by September to beat Gunther. Gunther wins the Rumble, goes after Cody.
Well, on a different side note, you've heard the news that they have announced that Gunther versus Cody is the working plan for the main event of WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
Which I want to talk about when we get to Cody's match.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Well, we're getting to the triple main event now, but we're going to start with the tag titles. Kevin and Sammy, who we never thought we'd see at a Saudi show. Really good to see that
really is good.
Politically, are defending against Roman and Solo. Now, it's so hard to
bet against Roman.
Against Roman, I'm gonna go first on this one if you don't mind, because
go for it.
There's so many outcomes with this story. I think the Usos are going to be involved, and I think they could somehow lead to Kevin and Sammy retaining, and we're left not knowing whether it's deliberate or accidental,
or if they inadvertently cost Roman and Solo.
Yeah. So the storyline gets furthered, maybe a triple threat down the line.
Well, I think there's another angle they could go with in this.
Go for it.
So, you watched SmackDown.
I did.
And you saw the little shoulder bump between Solo and Roman.
Yeah, that was a definite moment right there.
Yeah. Well, what if Roman loses his temper with Solo in this match?
Just spears him and walks away.
No. Just really loses his temper with him. And Solo spikes Roman.
Ooh.
Sammy pins Roman.
Ooh.
Solo walks off, sides with the Usos on the ramp. The bloodline begins to collapse. And I will get onto the next part of my theory in the next match.
This is interesting.
But I'm going with Kevin and Sammy.
You think Kevin and Sammy maybe not getting the win, but keeping the belt?
Retaining. They're retaining.
Yes, I'm with you. All right, let's go with it. Let's hear the next part of your theory, because the next match is Cody Rhodes and Cowboy Brock Lesnar.
Ah, my boy. Right. Now, as I just stated a couple of minutes ago, the working plan in progress, even though it's very early, is for Cody versus Gunther to be the main event of next WrestleMania. This only happens two ways. Cody wins the world title off Raw, or Cody beats Roman. Now, a lot of people think Brock and Cody is going to go on to SummerSlam. They're wrong. it ends at Saudi because Brock's taking time off. So it ends at Saudi. Cody beats Brock with one arm in Saudi Arabia, which is the most Cody Rhodes thing to do that Cody Rhodes could possibly do. This is how Cody is booked. They talk about Cody overcoming adversity. That's his whole gimmick. And it's been his whole gimmick since he left WWE. You look at his match runs in AEW. He'd get beat down, beat down, beat down, beat down, then win. It's exactly what's happened with Brock. So Cody beats Brock. Roman gets pinned by Sammy. Sammy gets another shot at Roman, which he then loses.
Yeah.
Cody, in the meantime, is Money in the Bank before or after SummerSlam?
Before.
Cody wins Money in the Bank. Challenges Roman for SummerSlam. Cody beats Roman at SummerSlam for the titles because Roman is taking time off after SummerSlam. That's public knowledge. Cody ends up swapping shows over to SmackDown. Gunther wins the Rumble. We get Cody Gunther next year.
The fun thing with this, if that is the end game, there's so many great ways we can get there.
Oh, yeah.
But just focus on this match yourself. I agree with what a lot you're saying in principle. However, how many times have we seen one wrestler injured in the build-up to a big match just to give them an excuse when they lose? It protects them.
This is true.
And I know there's rumors about Brock walking away for a while. But I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Okay.
I think Brock is going over. And I think that Cody's injury, broken arm even, if you will, is going to be used as a reason for the result of the match.
Yeah.
To take a little bit of time off. He'll probably still appear and do some promos. But I think this gets built to SummerSlam. And I think it's going to be the SummerSlam main event. Maybe
I think the SummerSlam main event's Cody Roman. I really do. They've got to finish the story, dude. It's the only way to finish the story. It's the only way they can finish the story. Cody has to find a way to get access to Roman now that he's on Raw. He can't just win a match. He has to win Money in the Bank.
So how about this? How about I'm not going to spoil my prediction for the next match because obviously it's Seth and AJ for the World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
How about Cody at some point beats the winner of that? Does he then carry that belt and get a champion versus champion non-title match against Roman at Survivor Series? Finish his story there.
Yeah, but that's not finishing the story. Even if he wins, he didn't win the belt.
Yeah, but it'd be the first person to pin Roman in
since Xavier Woods.
What is it now? Like 4 years? 5 years? It's a long time. Yeah.
3 years. Xavier Woods pinned him with the backwards.
Well, I'm picking Cody. Conscious of the time ticking away here because we still have a long ass double or nothing card to get through.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So let's move on to the main event. And Seth freaking Rollins and AJ Styles, two former world champions, two of the best in-ring talent over the last 20 years.
Both generational talents.
Yes. I think the fact that we've never seen this as like a big pay-per-view main event.
I was going to say, we did see it in 2003.
No, we didn't. No.
Well, we did.
No, we didn't.
Well, that was Tyler Black, right? Admittedly.
Yeah, that was a completely different character. I can't believe they showed that clip on SmackDown.
That was a 19-year-old Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
19. Yeah. And he was going against... I've seen that match, by the way. It's amazing. Like, AJ puts him over like crazy. Yeah. This is going to be...
20 years have passed. We're not going to expect that same work rate.
No.
But I think it's still going to be
phenomenal. Just to coin a phrase, it's going to be phenomenal. Yeah. I will say, it's Seth, man. Like, I know everybody, they've been using the excuse of, he's in the new Captain America movie, so he might not be able to defend the title every week. It's like, don't talk rubbish. The fact that they had SmackDown stars going after the Raw exclusive title in the first place was bloody stupid. I love AJ. Really happy to see the match. But it should have been a Raw guy.
It should.
It should have been a Raw guy.
It makes a mockery of the draft straight away.
Completely. I mean, it's already the consolation prize that they invented because no one can beat Roman.
I've long since seen this as like a pointless title. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, now it's keeping the same heritage as the World Championship." From
So what? That was in what?
2003
Randy
to-
Orton in 2014.
Let's not forget, keeping that same heritage doesn't make it credible, because
No.
that title was originally given to Triple H in a briefcase.
By Eric Bischoff. Now, admittedly, a lot of great championship reigns came out of the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yes.
But that belt was used when Triple H didn't have it as a prop. It was used as a way to merge the titles. It was used as a way to merge feuds. It was used as a way to carry somebody along. The World Heavyweight Championship made stars. The WWE Championship was carried by stars.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right?
Sometimes you need a title to get a wrestler over. Sometimes the wrestler gets the title over.
Exactly.
And you bang on with which was used which way. Yeah.
Yep.
But regardless of the lineage and the history, it's going to be a great in-ring match.
Match of the night.
I'm against having two champions in a company when you've got major competition. But sweeping that under the carpet, let's, watch it for what it is. It's going to be great.
I'm happy for Seth.
I'm going to be happy for Seth. Seth has put so many people over this past 18 months.
I mean, the Joker always loses. That's the point of Seth's character. But the Joker has started to subside. And Seth has started to turn back into Jack Napier, if I can use a Batman reference. My
favorite Joker, Joker Jack.
Yeah, best.
But I wouldn't be entirely gutted if AJ won.
No, not in the slightest.
That's the beauty of this match. Okay, so that concludes the WWE side of things. Shall we switch it over?
Just so we clarify, I think we're both going with Seth.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's maybe only two matches so far we've disagreed on.
Yes.
So, Double or Nothing. We have 9 matches to get through. This is only what's been officially announced.
There will be more, people. There will be more.
There will be more. Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. The floor is yours.
In an unsanctioned match. Right. Now, just to have a bit of a rant. People in the comments, answer me this. Has anybody in AEW got a better position in their career by feuding with Chris Jericho? I'll spoil it for you. The answer's fucking no.
Action Andretti,
who's now tagging with one half of Top Flight on Ring of Honor. I don't think he's in a better position than he was. Right? The only person you could really argue that was elevated by Chris Jericho was Orange Cassidy. And he didn't elevate him at all because he's still in the mid-card. I love Chris Jericho.
Gilbert.
Chris Jericho will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. For longevity, his ability to reinvent himself, banger match after banger match for nearly 30 plus years. Yeah. Chris Jericho is a legend. But Adam Cole needs to stay as far away from Chris Jericho as humanly possible. Especially because Jericho lost the match against Roddy Strong the other week. And Jericho doesn't lose on pay-per-view.
Let me ask you this, though. Okay, so there are several wrestlers that I've discovered on Twitter. Let's drop names. If you tweet about Brian Cage, if you tweet about Alex Hammerstone, if you tweet about Chris Jericho, quite often they will either retweet or like.
Yeah.
This is because they vanity search. Okay? Yeah. Chris is one of these guys. So, taking that into account, do you not think it's possible that he's well aware of this reputation he's got and he wants to change it?
I hope so. The only worry I've got is, for me, this match should be a one and done. There's no legs in this feud. They've done everything.
Okay.
Right? They've already done everything Chris could do to anger Adam Cole and to get him to this point.
I'll be happy.
On top of that, I've said for 6 months now, in fact, no, 9 months now, since before Cole got injured, that he's the guy to beat MJF. It's not the Pillars.
I can see that too.
It's not the Pillars. It's Cole. He's a legit star.
Would it be unfair to make this comparison? Because I loved Chris Jericho 20 years ago, as I always have, because he's always reinvented himself. But I think one of the matches of his career was against HBK at Mania.
Agreed. WrestleMania 19.
This is an opportunity for Chris Jericho to do to Adam Cole what HBK did to him and make him a star.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's Chris Jericho and it's Tony Khan. So I highly worry that Jericho's going over. I'm picking Adam Cole in this match because my wrestling fan brain wants Adam Cole to win. My wrestling journalist brain understands that the logical decision is for Adam Cole to win and move on to the next section.
Yeah.
Or there is another option they go with here. They really like faction warfare in AEW. I like faction warfare. Who's due back soon? Kyle. Kyle O'Reilly is due back soon. They've already brought in Roddy Strong. Now, they ain't going to bring back Bobby Fish, but you can literally replace him with anybody. It's fine. But if they put Roddy, Cole, and Kyle in one group, and they find a fourth member, that's a feud with the JAS for the next 6 months. I hate to see it, but I really think that's the way this is going to go.
Do you think you could even maybe involve Tay and Britt and a couple of the women in this?
That would be good.
Because
I'd be happy with that. Ty Conti versus Britt Baker would be a great one as well. Because they really don't like each other.
I'm picking Adam Cole. I think Chris has got not necessarily an unfair reputation, but I think sometimes the agenda that pushes it is more for political reasons, and I'm not even going to start getting into that. I'm picking Adam Cole. I think it will be a fantastic match. Okay, quicker one to predict because time is ticking away. We have Ethan Page and the Ass Boys taking on the Hardy Party, which of course is the Hardy Brothers
and Brothers A. Brothers A. I feel sorry for Mark Quinn. Right, he got injured at the worst time. Like the only reason Hook was involved in any of this was because Mark Quinn was injured and they needed somebody who could fill in that was a silent face that could do the job. Isaiah Cassidy has got unbelievably clever with what he's doing. His association with Matt Hardy has come on leaps and bounds. When Private Party first came in, they were just flippy boys who did flippy things and made the fans go,
You see, I always saw Cassidy more as the Matt Hardy, more as like the ground-based one. He did but Quinn more as the Jeff Hardy, the wrist taker.
Yeah. That's a good way
so it's kind of ironic that Cassidy's now the one under Matt's wing.
But it works really well. Ethan is the most underused guy in the company. I love Ethan Page. Ethan Page is a phenomenal talker. He's great in ring. He's got probably the best finish in AEW. Like the border toss, the Razor's Edge, Ego's Edge, whatever you want to call it. The Razor's Edge, the border toss, the Ego's Edge, whatever you want to call it, is probably the strongest finisher outside of the One-Winged Angel in AEW as far as how well it's protected. But they're reversing the roles, man. Matt's getting that contract. And Ethan's going to go comedy for the next 4 months. Until he gets his singles match with Matt Hardy down the line.
I'm with you. The Hardys are winning. There's no doubt about it. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Matt and Ethan, where that leads to.
Well, I'm under the assumption that Ethan Page will cost the Hardy Boys the tag team championships.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, the Hardy men, they're not boys anymore. But I think Ethan will be the one to cost them the tag titles, which will then lead into the inevitable Ethan-Matt feud of the singles feud that they should have had all along, where hopefully Matt will break.
Matt will break Ethan. Yes. Yeah.
Broken Ethan Page. Yes, please.
That'd be great.
Can you imagine it?
Okay. Women's Championship for the host title. The TBS title. It is Jade Cargill against Taya. Now, I know me and you, or I've got a sneaky suspicion me and you are going to have differences of opinion on this one, so I'm going to let you go first.
They finally did it. They finally booked somebody on a pay-per-view to face Jade that could actually win. This has been my problem with Jade's run. It's been so predictable. You put her in a ring with somebody, she's winning this match. You don't even have to watch the match. You know Jade is winning. Like, I knew Jade was winning the first match with Taya because they banned the Road to Valhalla. It's like, you don't put a stipulation like that in a match unless you're going to have them lose. I'm picking Taya in this one.
Okay.
I don't think Jade's getting that 60-0.
I have been known to be slightly negative about Tony Khan's product when it comes to predictability.
This is true.
I acknowledge this. However, as I'm always told, and as I've come to learn, because that's important that you learn about these things, you learn from experience and you go on, and it's important that predictability isn't always a bad thing.
No, I've said that for years.
And I think it builds, it adds more fuel to the fire with every match Jade has. It doesn't help that she's exhausted pretty much the whole division, but I think every match she has and keeps winning, it makes it more important and it makes it a bigger spectacle for when she's eventually going to lose. I don't think Taya's winning. I think Jade is retaining.
Okay. So, well, we disagree on this one.
We disagree on that one. All right. Here's one I know you're looking forward to. Personally, I kind of hope it carries on and leads to a blood and guts match. Talking about Anarchy at the Arena. Take it away.
It's the Avengers versus the X-Men, mate. That's exactly what this is. The Blackpool Combat Club of the X-Men. John Moxley is Wolverine. The Elite are the Avengers. Kenny is Captain America. Hangman is Thor.
More Avengers versus the Sinister Six?
No. They're the X-Men, dude. Okay. They're the X-Men, dude, because they are hated and feared by a world that doesn't understand them.
Okay.
Now, Tony's a big comic book mark. I've known this for years. This is where he gets his inspiration from. This is going to be controlled chaos at its best.
One question. I can see Mox as Wolverine. I can kind of see Claudio as Cyclops. Who's Bryan Danielson?
Professor X.
Ooh.
And Wheeler Yuta's Gambit.
Wheeler Yuta's Gambit. Okay, carry on.
But this is going to be controlled chaos at its best. Like, I love the Anarchy in the Arena stuff. I love Stadium Stampede. Any of the crazy stuff they do that is completely original from WWE's matches, I'm all for. Because it's an AEW thing. It's always going to be an AEW thing. What's the best way to put this? The Elite are probably going to win. Because it's taken 4 years to bring them back together. The storyline has been there. But I, like you, believe this feud is not done. No. I, like you, believe this ends at blood and guts. So I think the Blackpool Combat Club are going to absolutely obliterate them. Like, it's going to be challenging, but I think they're going to absolutely obliterate them. Especially...
Weirdly, I agree with what you're saying about where it's going to blood and guts, but I see blood and guts more as the BCC's style match. This is more the Elite style match. So that's why I'm picking the Elite here. And I think there's plenty of story to keep it going, even though the faces win in the middle of the feud. I think the Elite are winning, and I'm even going to call it and say that Hangman pins Claudio.
Set up a Ring of Honor title match.
A Ring of Honor title match.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Claudio and Wheeler tonight are challenging for the Ring of Honor championships, tag team championships on AEW television, which is really fucking stupid. Why not do it tomorrow when Ring of Honor's on?
The amount of comments I've seen today where people are saying, why am I paying $9.99 to see Ring of Honor talent when they're on Dynamite Rampage for free? Why are Ring of Honor talent constantly brought in and used to elevate AEW talent? You see them on that card, you know they're going to lose. It doesn't do anybody any favors.
Well, the one thing I will say this time is I think Claudio and Wheeler are winning. Because the BCC need more gold to prove their point that they're the only professionals around here. And also, if Hangman's going to pin Claudio and then probably win the Ring of Honor title, Claudio gets to keep relevancy because him and Wheeler will be the tag team champions.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I've still got memories of Claudio pretty much being the last guy standing at Blood and Guts last year.
Yeah.
So him getting his little feature push during this would mean the reverse could happen this year.
Yeah. Also, I'm predicting that Kenny One-Winged Angels Wheelie Utah off something really, really high.
A tree?
Oh no, this is a stadium
Bridge.
match. Something really high, like the same
through
thing he did
through a hot dog vending stall.
Who did he do it to? Did it to Sammy Guevara in the original Stadium Stampede match where he jumped off the frigging bank and One-Winged Angels him all the way down.
It's been so long, and that was a tough time to live through. And all I kind of remember about that was Sammy being run over by the golf buggy.
That was great. No, but and Hangman on a horse.
And Hangman on the horse. Yeah.
Never forget Hangman on the horse.
So you're picking.
I'm going with the BCC.
Club. I'm going with the Elite. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 matches to get through, and about 5 minutes left on the show. So
right,
quickly,
speed round.
Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm, Women's Championship.
It's got to be Jamie. Simply because Wembley is coming up, and I believe they're going to do Saraya versus Jamie at Wembley because it's the biggest match they can put on.
Next up, Orange Cassidy is defending the All Atlantic Championship, which he's now had 20.
He might 22, and
22.
He might not be because his 23rd defense is tonight against Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. And Kyle just had to get rid of all of his belts because his partner's injured. So Kyle is freed up for a hell of a singles run.
Yeah, but I don't think you bring in talent that isn't signed to the company and give him a title belt. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's in the perfect position. He's in the perfect position to be a challenger for that purpose.
Yes.
But Orange is winning.
So, okay, we have a champion walking in. And so far announced, we have Aaron Solo, Powerhouse Hobbs, QT Marshall, and 17 to be determined.
Yeah.
I've got a theory about this one. I think it's an interesting way to get the belt off Orange. And it's an interesting way to continue the kind of like between the lines build-up that we've been having with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. I think the Best Friends could inadvertently cost Orange the belt, and Bandido takes it.
Oh, I'd like to see Bandido as international champion.
Me too.
But I have a feeling that somebody else is going to win this match.
Give me a name quickly.
Pac. He's been away for quite some time.
Brings the belt to Wembley.
17 to be determined. Pac brings the belt to Wembley.
Makes a lot of sense. Sorry to rush you. We really have to get this quickly. Wardlow defended against Christian Cage with Luchasaurus.
Oh, please, God, let Christian Cage win. He's not going to. Like, Wardlow's winning, but please, God, let Christian Cage win. If the wrestling gods have any mercy in their soul, Wardlow will accidentally fall off a ladder, break his ankle, and then Christian will have to win the match.
Would it be good to see Christian win the belt? Yes. But I think ultimately he's here to elevate Wardlow.
I agree.
Okay, FTR against Triple J.
You mean FTR versus Team TNA?
Triple J. J and JJ.
Brilliant, Triple J. I am not angry about this match. Like, I know a lot of people are pissed off because Jeff Jarrett gets so much TV time. Two words, people. Emotional connection. Jeff Jarrett connects with the audience. Doesn't matter if they're trying to boo him out of the building. He connects.
Now, you and I, Nick, we're in our 40s. I'm perhaps a little further into them than you are. There are a lot of younger wrestling fans, 18 to 21, that hate on Jeff, really hate on him. And their reasoning is, why is this old guy on my television? Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw Jeff Jarrett in 93, I thought exactly the same thing. But this is 30 years ago. He's always been the old guy. He's always been a pro, and he's aged like fine wine. Should he win the belts? No, but I wouldn't be disgruntled if they did.
No, I wouldn't be pissed at all.
I'm going FTR.
I'm going FTR. I'm definitely going FTR, but I'd be fine with Team TNA winning.
Agreed. Final match of this exhausting prediction show. MJF defending against the other three pillars.
It's probably the most predictable match on the card, I hate to say. Like,
is it?
Well, there is one way out of this. Everybody thinks that MJF is retaining. Like, everyone and their mother is convinced MJF is retaining this title, which is fine. It makes sense. But as we've said to each other in the past, not every title reign needs to be hundreds of days long.
No.
So what's the best way to get Max over even further? Because he's taken himself as far as he can, in my opinion, on his own as world champion. So what you do is you have Darby win the belt for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Then instantly drop it back to Max at the Battle of the Belt show before Forbidden Door. Max is a 2-time champ. Darby looked good for a fortnight. How many times did Sting win a title and lose it an hour later? Or lose it the next week? That's why he's a 9-time champ. Like, he won the WCW title off Diamond Dallas Page and 1 hour later lost it back to Diamond Dallas Page.
Technically, Sting's a 15-time champ. But yeah, in WCW. Yeah, in WCW.
He's 9-time champ. Yeah. So I am going to throw a curveball and I am picking Darby.
Ooh. You see,
he's only going to have a 2-week reign, but he's winning.
I think a lot of that is what I want to see with my heart. I'm not the biggest Darby Allin fan in the world. Anybody that knows anything about me knows that. However, a couple of weeks with the belt, if it leads to a storyline with Sting, against Sting, a bit of unpredictability, I'd like to see it. So, with my heart, I think that's what I want to see. However, no, MJF's keeping it, dude.
Like I said, I'm throwing a curveball because it's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
The logical part of me says MJF's keeping this belt. But the fanboy in me wants there to be a little short title reign for one of the 4 pillars. And it ain't going to be Sammy. Right? And it ain't going to be Jungle Boy yet. Because Jungle Boy is going to get a proper run at some point in the future. But he's not there yet.
Yeah. But like we said with AJ and Seth, when we were talking about Night of Champions, I think end of the day, unless Jungle Boy wins the belt, I think end of the day, whoever wins, particularly between Darby and MJF, I'm not going to complain about it. It's that kind of match where the winner isn't as important as the fact that it's going to be a damn good match.
Realistically, the most important thing about that main event is Tony Khan is doing what he should have been doing for the past 3 years. He's pushing the pillars. Right? He's taking the guys that are going to be the future of that company for years to come, and he's putting them in the main event. It's showcasing the guys that deserve to be showcased in the right way. Regardless of the outcome of the match, it's a fantastic piece of booking.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. I'm going to hand you over to my co-host here to tell you about why we appreciate you watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy what we do here at the Legion, please join the Legion. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, hit like on the video if you stayed with us to the end. It's got to be worth a like. Anyone that watches these videos, I love you all. It's so important to us. We do this for fun. But the fact that people get entertained by watching old idiots like us moan about wrestling is just phenomenal. I love you all. He's been Simon. I've been Nick the Geek. We'll see you next week. If I can find it.